Two MAGA-aligned congressmen were slapped with subpoenas, according to a new report. Representative Andy Biggs and Paul Gosar of Arizona had received these subpoenas as part of a probe into a scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in the state. An investigation conducted by Arizona Attorney General Kris Mayes sought their testimony before a grand jury about 11 Republicans who had falsely certified after the 2020 election that Trump had won the state, which, of course, he did not win the state. Okay, Biden had a narrow victory. Nonetheless, you had this slate of fake electors. Now, both congressmen have to be closely tied to this plan to create these slates of so-called alternate or fake electors to try to keep Donald Trump in the White House over the will of the voters. Yet, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any indication that Mayes will be bringing charges against Biggs and Gosar, at least according to an article in Politico. It's also unclear whether Mayes had insisted on enforcing the subpoenas against them, who may have legal basis to resist testifying. So I don't know if they had testified yet, or had. All we know is that they were given subpoenas. So now, I mentioned that they were tied to this fake elector plot. How so? Aside from them voting against the certification in Congress and amplifying election denial, which of course certainly the plan to not certify the election in Congress was kind of key to the fake elector plot, because the plan was, I guess, to send it back to the states. The states would then choose alternate electors, fake electors, to then certify for Donald Trump, allowing him to, of course, take these states and then alter the electoral college count, allowing Trump to remain in power. So that's their that's where they fit into. That's where Congress fits into this. But there's more. Gosar had been outlining his argument for challenging Arizona's election result when rioters had overtaken the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Since then, he's led the charge to try to overturn the election by claiming mass voter fraud. Now, that's been debunked over and over again. I don't think we have to go over that. But nonetheless, mass voter fraud just didn't happen. It's a conspiracy theory. Now, getting to Biggs, Andy Biggs, in text messages to Trump aide Mark Meadows 3 days after the election, he said, states where there have been shenanigans, he should submit alternate electors for Trump and have Republican-led legislatures formally support him. So he was part of that as well. Now, this gets me to what I'm curious about. Why is there no indication of charges? Now, on the charitable side, perhaps Mayes doesn't want to tip her hand if she intends to indict them for crimes. I don't know. What I do know is that they're keeping any information about this case tight. There's quite a lid on this. Arizona electors have largely avoided public knowledge of the reach of Mayes' investigation, refusing to confirm if they had been subpoenaed. Now, there are a couple that did go out and rage about it without giving any details about it. For example, Senator Anthony Kern of Glendale called this probe political. Oh, witch hunt, political. That's all it is. Jake Hoffman, another Trump elector, said, I'm not commenting on the elector situation or the ongoings of the court proceedings. However, what I can tell you is that we have a wildly corrupt Department of Justice and now a corrupt Attorney General who are weaponizing our justice system, both nationally and now at the state level, to persecute their political enemies. And it's reprehensible, it's immoral, and it's evil. Perhaps even...
It's the devil, okay?
he didn't add that. I added that. Okay, anyway. These fake electors even held a panel on Thursday. And this is actually Republicans in the state of Arizona, far-right Republicans. They held a panel designed to probe these claims of weaponization in the Attorney General's office. So you can see how they're reacting to the investigation, how they're reacting to people trying to uphold the law. So they might not be saying much about this, but they are taking it seriously, which does suggest that they're pretty freaked out over this investigation. That said, I don't know how worried Gozar and Biggs are. Okay. Now, Politico said it reviewed a letter dated February 16th from Gozar to Speaker Mike Johnson, apprising the Speaker of the subpoena. And it's just the latest subpoena that Mayes has issued in this investigation. She also subpoenaed former Trump campaign aide Michael Roman. So, look, I don't know. I mean, even though there hasn't been any charges filed so far, doesn't mean that there won't be against Biggs and Gozar. I mean, look, you had the fake electors in Michigan and Nevada that have been indicted, but again, no sitting Congress people. In Georgia, Trump and more than a dozen co-defendants have been criminally charged over their attempt to overturn the election in that state. Now, having Trump be, charged and indicted, that's a huge, huge deal. I would say bigger than any congressperson. But still, if you don't go after the members of Congress who were part of this, who voted not to certify the election, right, which in itself is not a crime, but if you're actively working with people like Ali Alexander, who, planned the whole January 6th Stop the Steal rally, which led to the Capitol riots, etc., and we're working, with these fake electors to try to stop the peaceful transfer of power, then yeah, that should be a crime. And you should be, even if you're a member of Congress, called to subpoena and perhaps even indicted. So, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people have been wondering, why? Why are you not going after members of Congress who didn't vote to certify? Why are you allowing them, people who worked with these fake electors to just not face any charges? It's a good question, and I wish I knew the answer to it. But I don't know if this is going to lead to that. I don't know if Biggs and Gozar, again, I don't know this investigation. But if anybody is to be charged, you would think it'd be these guys. Again, Gozar, working with white nationalists, working with Ali Alexander, working with these fake electors inside this plot. I mean, it's a literal conspiracy where they're conspiring to try to allow Donald Trump to stay in power, even though he did not win the election. So, yeah, that's what a real conspiracy is. Now, that said, if you want to know Gozar, ask his family. His sister, Jennifer Gozar, had told the Arizona Republic a couple of years ago in an interview, "We know him to be an extremist, and we took that very seriously." His brother, Dave Gozar, then told NBC News, said, "I consider him to be a traitor to this country. I consider him a traitor to his family." And so Gozar, definitely the more extreme of the two, not good. So, look, I hope that these subpoenas will lead to some accountability, possibly charges, if there is any, evidence of them committing crimes. Like I said, I want to see accountability, but until I see otherwise, I will remain hopeful, but entirely skeptical that anyone who is in Congress that was part of any of these plots is ever going to face any sort of accountability for their actions.